Thank you, Nate. Congressman, before the break, you had sent, or during the break, you sent a letter to leadership saying what the House Freedom Caucus wanted in exchange for support for a short-term spending bill. Have you heard back from leadership, and how are those conversations progressing?
Well, look, we're continuing to have conversations with Kevin and the entire leadership team. Obviously, we're praying for Steve Scalise, and he's going through treatment. And so we're all going to be coming back in tomorrow, and we'll be looking at each other face to face for the first time in a while. And we'll see where we're going to head. We got a lot of work to do, and hopefully we'll get some bills out here in September. But look, I think we tried to make very clear that it's pretty simple. The American people expect us to actually fight for them. They sent us here to do something. And speaking as a Texan, I can't just sit here and rubber stamp the status quo. The leadership knows that, and so we're working feverishly here to see what we can get done in September. But it's game time, and we got to get something done for the people who sent us here.
The Senate has been working on a bipartisan basis. They're probably going to pass their first big spending bill next week, if not this week. Does the House have to pass some of your own spending bills to have a real place in an argument about spending going forward?
Well, we're working to pass those bills, but it's pretty easy for the Senate to, shove stuff across the line when they pretty much all agree that spending more money is a good thing. And the fact is that Senate Republicans need to understand that we have an obligation to do what we campaign on. I'm fascinated to see all these Senate Republicans hand-wringing over, we're going to be heading into a shutdown in October. It's like, we're only heading into a shutdown in October if you guys don't stand up and fight.
Well, if the House can't pass anything...
Well, we can pass bills. We've demonstrated the ability to pass strong bills all year if we stick to principles, right? We passed the Strong National Defense Authorization Act. That actually got the military focused on its mission. We passed a really strong Limit, Save, Grow bill in April. We passed a very strong border bill, the strongest bill we've ever passed, when we're united to do that. And frankly, if the Senate Republicans were helping us at all, we'd be able to do a lot for America. So, that'd be my big question is, where are Senate Republicans?
A lot of your colleagues are warning against a potential shutdown and the implications it could have on the House Republicans' ability to keep the House in 2024. Do you share those concerns, or do you think that a shutdown does not hurt House Republicans?
Our job is to do our job now. Politics take care of themselves. My experience in life is that the American people tend to reward people who lead and fight for them. That was true, by the way. People go back and look all the way back in the history in 95, 96, after the debates then. I believe it was true when Senator Cruz was leading the fight on Obamacare, which, by the way, if you go look at the outcomes post-Obamacare, go ask the American people whether they like the current state of their healthcare system a decade later.
Hello, friends. You can expect to see big action taken in Congress this week, as House Speaker Kevin McCarthy faces many hurdles in the way of preventing a government shutdown. Top members of the House Freedom Caucus have confirmed that they may support the passage of a continuing resolution. But this comes up with a list of demands. My dear friends, please do me a big favor and watch until the end of this video for all of the latest information. Also, every Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, dearest friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy will return from his recess this week. But a big question is, should he force a government shutdown, leaving hundreds of thousands of government workers without a paycheck, or even risking his speakership in the process? With just 12 legislative days left before the end of the fiscal year, the Republican-controlled House must quickly pass some kind of spending package to keep the federal government open after September 30th. If the chamber does not approve a spending bill, the U.S. government will shut down for the first time in nearly 5 years, furloughing federal employees and stalling many crucial programs. Speaker McCarthy has indicated his preference to pass a continuing resolution, which would keep the government funded at its current levels for a short period of time, as lawmakers continue to negotiate over a longer-term deal. But members of the hard-right House Freedom Caucus, who are still upset over the deal that McCarthy and President Biden struck to suspend the debt ceiling early this year, insists they will not back a continuing resolution. This is unless the Speaker agrees to several significant policy concessions. Given House Republicans' narrow majority and a new rule allowing any single member of the chamber to force a vote on removing the Speaker, McCarthy's handling of this fraught situation could determine whether he loses his gavel after just 8 months in power, according to the Washington Post. The trouble for McCarthy started in the spring after the House passed the compromise debt ceiling bill, known as the Fiscal Responsibility Act. 71 members of the House Republican Conference opposed the legislation over concerns that it did not go far enough to reduce government spending. They criticized McCarthy for agreeing to the inadequate deal. Before the upper chamber adjourned at the end of July, the Senate Appropriations Committee advanced all 12 spending bills for fiscal year 2024 with bipartisan support. The Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has implored the House to take a similar approach to the budget process. Even the Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell offered a mild criticism of his colleagues in the House when asked about the spending fight last week. But members of the House Freedom Caucus have already outlined a list of demands in exchange for their support on a continuing resolution. With the likelihood of a government shutdown increasing by day, the White House has criticized hard-right Republicans' demands as a stunt that could reap devastating consequences for millions of Americans. Past government shutdowns proved the widespread upheaval caused by lapses in government funding. During the last partial shutdown, which ended in January 2019, roughly 800,000 federal workers went without a paycheck. The former president's administration tried to keep national parks open with limited staff, resulting in damage to the grounds. Loan programs overseen by the Small Business Administration and federally funded research projects were also halted. One expert said, "It's very disruptive. Federal agencies spend a whole lot of time trying to figure out what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do. It's a total waste of effort and energy. When you reach a debt limit, the government has already enacted programs, but it no longer has the money to pay for them. This is because it cannot borrow what it needs to fill the gap between what it's taking in and what it would have to put out." According to several analysts, if the United States government defaults, payments to the estimated 67 million people who are relying on Social Security this year could be delayed. Gene Ross, a senior fellow for economic policy at the Center for American Progress, has said a temporary disruption in payments to those who depend on Social Security income to pay their own bills could result in impacts that would ripple through the economy at large. Well, my magnificent and most marvelous friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for today. My dear friends, thank you so very much for joining me here every day and for being part of this community. To say thank you, I will be announcing several winners every Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed week.